welcome. If you haven't met me yet, I'm a full-time working mom of one baby girl, and on this channel I like to talk about interior design, specifically focusing on the home and how it impacts our well-being on a daily basis. If that all sounds good to you, please make sure to like and subscribe. I release videos every single Thursday. So I should preface this by saying that I started eating vegan meals to kind of help with my skin. I was having issues with my skin, and I decided to try out a vegan diet to see if that would have an impact and help with my skin. And in talking to my dermatologist, she did say that like eating dairy every now and then wouldn't be so terrible. So previously I was sort of like a vegetarian, but I would still eat like fish here and there. And I'm kind of doing the same thing now. Like during the week, I typically do eat mostly vegan meals. And when I cook for myself, I tend to cook for my toddler. I started her on, I don't know if you've heard of it or not, but it's the 101 Before One program, which is, it's like pediatricians and dietitians that specifically focus on like children's health. So they kind of collaborated and came up with this program to create meals that you could eat as well as your baby, starting them on solids from 6 months. So I've basically been feeding her most of what I eat, with some exceptions of course, from the time she started solids. So the meals that I'm gonna make today are meals that she has had before. And of course she's a toddler, so it could go either way. Sometimes she will eat it, sometimes she won't. It depends on her mood. So I have been meeting with a dietitian probably since I think around January. Right now she's out on maternity leave, so I haven't met with her in a couple months, but I was talking back and forth with her about like my diet transition and some of my dietary needs. And eating a vegan diet, I definitely do want to make sure that I'm getting enough protein during the day. Sometimes that can be hard if you're not eating enough vegan protein sources. So I do tend to eat a lot of tofu because it's low in carb but also high in protein, so it's like a really good source for me to get protein. It's super easy, it's interchangeable, you can use it with a lot of different recipes, so that's typically like my protein go-to. But I was also eating like a lot of breads and things like that, and my doctor did tell me to watch like my carbs and my sugar. So I've been trying to eat more balanced meals and also like not as much like breads and pastas, which is easy to do when you're eating a vegan diet because of the lack of meat sources. And like me, I do like salads, but I don't want to eat salads every single day. So I've just been experimenting with a lot of different vegan recipes, and as a work from home mom, a lot of them have to be pretty simple and easy. I do try to venture out maybe for like dinner or on the weekend sometimes. I'll do a recipe that's a little bit more simple and easy, healthy, and also delicious. I know that's like a big ask, right? So I'm gonna walk you through some of the meals that are sort of like easy go-to meals that I enjoy eating, and then also my toddler enjoys eating. Fingers crossed, we'll see how she does today with her meals. But yeah, this is my typical day-to-day. For breakfast, one of my quick and easy go-tos is definitely a smoothie, which I'm sure is the case for most people. I found a website that has a lot of unique smoothies, and the thing that I really like about these smoothies is that you can kind of sneak in some veggies and some protein, but it still tastes really good and the protein is not overpowering. So this is the sunshine turmeric smoothie, and I actually ended up forgetting to add the banana for my daughter.
But usually what I do is I'll make her smoothie first and then I'll end up doing mine simply because I use soy milk for her smoothie and then I use ripple milk for my smoothie.
You want more?
Ripple has a little less fat content. It also has some really good benefits in there that are helpful. So when I was going through a list of vegan milk options with my dietitian, she recommended Ripple milk, and I actually really like Ripple milk. I get the unsweetened, and I like the fact that it has no added sugar, so it's not high in sugar. And she gave me the option of like a vegan my plate, and so once a day she recommended that I get in like at least a cup of milk to help me get like all my vitamins and nutrients in. And so I did cut that with the coconut milk because the coconut milk does give this smoothie a very hearty flavor. However, it can be a little bit more fatty. So I try not to use a lot of the coconut milk. And just to get more protein in and help myself to feel more full, I did add in a scoop of pea protein. And the pea protein, I've been trying on and off. Sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't. I've kind of been experimenting with that. Yeah, so I'll use that sometimes if I want to feel a little bit more full for breakfast. So I started trying rise, and they have rise coffee, but I prefer the rise matcha. I really do like this mushroom matcha powder. It gives me like a very level amount of energy without me getting the jitters that I would tend to get from coffee. So I like to keep things really simple for lunch because lunch break is typically only an hour and I gotta cook and get the baby down for her nap. So throwing things in the air fryer is usually super easy and efficient for me. So for this recipe, I'm gonna do like a chickpea wrap type of thing. And essentially what I do is I just chop up green and red peppers and chickpeas, and I separate a small portion out for my daughter as opposed to me, simply because she typically does not tolerate as many spices as I do. I do use for her like garlic powder, onion powder, a little bit of ginger, and I might sometimes put a little bit of salt, but I try not to use too much salt for her. And for me, I use all of the spices in the recipe. And then I just pop that in the air fryer for about 10 minutes or so. and that's when I assemble the wrap. So I'm using a store-bought hummus wrap that I just put onto these chickpea flour tortillas, which are really great because it also gives a little bit more protein as well. And then I just add in the chickpeas with the peppers. And for my daughter's meal, I kind of do like a deconstructed version of the chickpea wrap. And she does really like chickpeas. She can actually eat them straight out of the container. So she does typically like this meal. The peppers, that could go either way. In between lunch and dinner, I usually try to do a little snack. So I'm trying to use cassava strips for the first time, and they were actually really good. They kind of taste like Lay's potato chips. And for my daughter, I made these protein balls, which I don't have an exact recipe for because I've kind of been like following these. Like I found them on Pinterest and there's a couple recipes out there. So essentially what it is it's peanut butter, a few pitted dates, some chia seeds, pumpkin seeds, and a little bit of flaxseed meal. And I add that all together and then I make it into these little balls. And depending on her mood, sometimes she's in a peanut butter mood, sometimes not. She'll eat these for a snack, and it's really good for like a protein boost to help keep her full between lunch and dinner. And then sometimes if she doesn't want to go to sleep, I use these as like an after dinner snack. And they keep really well in the fridge for like, I would say like a week. You can actually prep these ahead of time at the beginning of the week. For dinner, by the end of the day, I'm usually pretty tired. So I like to keep things simple, like I do kind of all day long. And one of my go-tos is kind of like a tofu scramble. Now, I kind of got this off of the 101 Before One and the 101 Before One food list, but I changed it a little bit just based on preference. So this recipe is actually really good to get some veggies in, and it also has a really good like Asian flavor, especially for toddlers when they're still building their palate and they're still learning about different flavors, and you don't want everything to just be super bland, so you kind of want to give them a little touch of like different flavors. And this is also really easy. I just chop up, or I just shred the zucchini, and super easy. I throw in some frozen corn and also some broccoli, which I chop up really fine. And then I add in the tofu that I pressed earlier and all the seasoning. I use a ready-made quinoa blend to save even more time, so I didn't have to cook the quinoa, which could take like 40 minutes or more. It's also really helpful for me to be able to get things done quickly. So the sesame seed oil and the liquid aminos. So I use liquid aminos as opposed to soy sauce because the liquid aminos doesn't have as much salt content and it's better for like young kids. So for my own dish, I did end up adding this Trader Joe's chimichurri, which is absolutely delicious. And then also these Calabrian chili peppers, which are also like the best. And that was my dinners. And those are my vegan meals for the day. So if you like this video, please make sure to like and subscribe. I release videos every Thursday. Until next time, bye.